The Maelstrom Wanderer versus Azami Lady of Scrolls, one of a million decks that I've been meaning to build for a while. That's a very good hand. Pretty much the only thing we want in Maelstrom Wanderer is ramp in the opening hand, and we've got just that. So let's just start things off with, yes, we need green for the Findhorn Elves. Then what is it? We could just go straight in for the Wood Elves, but I think I want to get down Lotus Cobra first, so let's go Lotus Cobra, followed by Volcanic Island. We're going to be able to get down the Nature's Law here. So let's just take advantage of that and get a tap land out of the way. And then we add another mana with the Lotus Cobra that we can do nothing with. And then it's just another land from Azami. Let's drop this land, and how much mana do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, including this. So let's go for the Wood Elves. And that comes straight down, so no counter magic in our opponent's hand seemingly. Grab ourselves a Breeding Pool in tapped, and then let's just hold up the Krosan Grip. Azami, as a control player, couldn't really ask for a worse matchup, because as I say every time I play Maelstrom Wanderer, we don't care if the Maelstrom Wanderer gets removed or countered, because that just means that we can go in and cast it again. Trinket Mage from our opponent, I think that is 1 CMC. Yeah, they go for Soul Ring, which unfortunately they can't cast this turn because that would have been really good with a Krosan Grip in hand. But we're not going to worry about that, I don't think. Let's just go Forest here. And it doesn't matter what we add because we're going in for our commander. And we get a couple of cascades here. That is a See the Unwritten. Unfortunately, our Maelstrom Wanderer is not in play yet. Which card do we want to put on the battlefield? Well, an Avenger of Zendikar sounds good, doesn't it? We get some plant tokens. So that's not a bad first cascade. Almost doesn't matter what we get into after this, although Scavenging Goose to get rid of any Snapcaster Mage targets also sounds good. And our opponent scoops to that, which, yeah, it's fair enough, I suppose. Even if they're going for Soul Ring, a land, and into their commander next turn, all they can really do is draw 2 cards. Whereas we are at least getting down a land to buff these up to 1/2s, actually. We get down 2 lands there, so these would be 2 3s. And, yeah, we're probably going wide on them within a turn or 2. Very, very fast one. So let's try and get a better game than that. Maelstrom Wanderer versus Muldrotha the Gravetide. Oh, and our opponent might scoop to that, but, well, I can't exactly throw it away just because my opponent might scoop. We'll test their endurance here. We've got our Teamer colours. And we've got a turn 2 Warm Power Stone as well. We could actually go for the Soul Ring on turn 2 and still get into Warm Power Stone. But maybe we'll want to cast something different depending on what we draw. Our opponent hasn't scooped yet. And they start things off with a tap land, so they are getting off to a slower start than we are. We'll get down our blue source and go for the Warm Power Stone. And we're actually only a couple of lands away from our commander currently. Alright, so let's drop City of Brass and we will try and get this thing down. We get a Cascade off of the Ethereum Horn Sorcerer. And Cascade into Sky Shroud Claim. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that for us. Although they can counter what we Cascade into, but instead are deciding to go for Cycling. But it's looking pretty terrible for our opponent currently. We'll just go for a couple of Gruul tap lands. Oh, actually, they come in untapped with Sky Shroud Claim, don't they? So let's instead go for Tiger and a Forest, and that way we can cast the Shaman of Forgotten Ways this turn as well. So I think we're as close to guaranteed our commander next turn as can be, really, and we're doing it on turn 4 again. Must apologise to my opponent. There's no way we could have done this without the Sol Ring in hand. But that's what this deck is. It's just pretty much ramp, with the odd big thing to cascade into. Yeah, our opponent scoops there, that's fair enough. We'll get what is hopefully the third and final game underway now. Third time's a charm, hopefully. Maelstrom Wanderer versus Rafiq of the Many. I am keeping that. I actually didn't really look at my hand there. We can go for a green source there, luckily, and then go for our mana dorks. Yeah, I kind of give up sometimes on trying to keep a really good hand because I know that it just means that our opponent's more likely to scoop it up, and it's fair enough against this deck because it is quite fast and obnoxious sometimes. Let's get down a Gruul land here, and we can go in for the Jiraga Tree Speaker, I think. Next turn we'll be able to put a level counter on this, and then the 2 mana that you put in for the level counter kind of replaces itself because it will then tap for 2 mana. And we'll be able to use that to go for Birds of Paradise. Oh, Naginata from our opponent, so that's obviously what they've gone for in Rafiq, is the equipment strategy, which is the most common. Much safer than going for auras. Let's drop this land. First off, go for the level up. And then tap it for mana. And go for the Birds of Paradise for a bit more ramp. So how much mana are we on here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 next turn. So we could go for Consecrated Sphinx actually. And nothing for our opponent unfortunately, so it might be that they're holding up counter magic. Does Rafiq run a lot of counter magic? I don't know. Let's get another green source into play because I don't trust that these creatures are going to stick around for as long as I'd like them to. And then if they're holding up counter magic, they could probably counter the Consecrated Sphinx. So the intelligent play is probably Bloodbraid Elf, but I'm going to try and get ourselves into a Consecrated Sphinx here. If they want to counter anything, it's a Consecrated Sphinx. There we are, counter a spell unless you pay X. So they couldn't have countered the Bloodbraid Elves there, but then they still would have had the Clash of Wills in hand. Couple of turns away from our commander, but our opponent hasn't gotten their commander down either. They could go for it this turn, and then that equips for 2, and it gives +3/+0 and trample, which is not good news for us. And there it is, Rafiq of the Many gonna swing in as a 6/3 with double strike. Sorry, no, it'll have Exalted, so it'll be a 7/4 with double strike and trample next turn. Teferi. Well, we go Homeward Path, I know that much. Then I think we go Bloodbraid Elf and Eternal Witness, so that we can block this thing. No, we still can't block it even then, can we? Let's try and distract our opponent with Teferi here, because the longer they leave that in play, the worse it is for them, but at the same time, they should probably swing past it really if they're trying to beat us up as soon as possible. But it might distract them to buy us a turn or 2. So we untap all of our stuff as soon as he enters. And then we'll see if we've got any luck with our Cascade. Cascading into a Preordain, I don't mind that. Scry 2 and draw a card. And it is a Spoils of Victory on top. That definitely goes on the bottom. Shaman of the Forgotten Ways I don't think we need either, and it's too slow. So let's put that on the bottom as well. And then we drew into Sphinx of Athun off of the Preordain. Now it's just a case of passing over and hoping that we can soak up some of this damage from our opponent. Yep, so they go for the equip and don't cast anything else. They may have counter magic in hand to get rid of spot removal, and they are going in it to Teferi. Turns into a 7/4 with trample and double strike. So we can block 2 of it, and it still gets through. Yeah, we just let Teferi go here. We don't have a choice. Might as well keep a creature in play. It buys us a couple of turns though. Oh, and then they go for Path to Exile to get rid of that 2 mana. But this replaces itself, so we'll go for a Mountain here. So they're not holding on to counter magic, perhaps. We drop Temple of the False God. And I think we've got the mana there. That's 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Yeah, our opponent obviously wasn't counting on Temple. Then really hoping for some good cascades here. Inferno Titan would be good. Okay, Bribery. Don't know how many creatures our opponent's going to have in a Voltron Rafiq deck, but we'll soon find out. The good thing about playing Bribery as well is that you get to look at your opponent's deck list. So if any of you are interested in seeing a Rafiq list, here it is. You can pause the video and have a flick through here if you want to. We've got a Rixmathes, Feyburrow Elder, a Gaia Engineer, Overbeing of Myth, Paradise Druid, Stoneforge Mystic and a Trinket Mage. I think it's just the additional card draw, isn't it? So we'll go for Overbeing of Myth here, I think. Oh, and we get into Karn off of the Cascade. I mean, yeah, we couldn't ask for much more than that. Won't be surprised to see our opponent scoop here. So Maelstrom Wanderer will come down with haste. Gives all of our creatures haste as well. First thing we do is exile that Rafiq. And now it's a case of beating down our opponent until they probably lose. Yeah, that was a really lucky cascade with the Rafiq. With the Karn liberated even. That helps us to deal with Rafiq. And the best bit is we've got plenty of card draw next turn as well. Our opponent's got commander damage of his own to worry about here because 2 more hits from this and they're down. Yeah, our opponent scoops it up. They are a couple of turns away from getting their Rafiq down. And that's assuming that they get into a land every turn. It's just far too slow. They didn't get into any ramp, unfortunately. So we'll have to leave it there for this Maelstrom Wanderer video, I'm afraid. Just haven't had the best of luck getting into interactive games tonight. But hopefully you enjoyed it anyway. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.